welcome back to Encounter Roleplay on this great and wonderful and very sunny Monday, at least if you're here in the UK anyway. Hello to those of you watching on Twitch, and if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to join us live for this show every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern until the end of this month, which will be the end of the Encounter Roleplay season, which means we only have 3 episodes left. Let's go around the cast and crew, figure out who we are, who we're playing, and what we're going to do with these last 3 sessions. Jason, how are you doing today?
A-okay, by all accounts. Just Jason, please, on Twitter, and Vasily Teltos in this marvelous little game that we've got going on here. Overall, day's been kind enough to me to afford me a few hours to just roll some dice, have a good time, and hopefully kill some heretics in the grim darkness of the far future.
Yes, we're deep diving back into Mutants and Masterminds 40k today. Are you excited, Cleric?
I am, as soon as I figure out how to unmute myself. Yes, I am very excited.
Mark it down on the bingo sheet.
Yeah. Crazy. This is, Albucasis has got a lot of experimenting to do, and really looking forward to kind of, now that he's got more toys to play with, I mean, pieces of the artifact, really looking forward to finding out more information about these things.
Speaking of more information, our tome of information. Hope, how are you doing today?
Oh, doing quite well, thank you. It's going to be an interesting 3 episodes because there's so many questions, not too many answers, and even more dark threats. So, what Kifkin has to deal with, we'll see. But hey, chat, it's Pope World Build here. World Build on the Twitch, Pope World Build on the Twitter. I am just kind of beside myself, and I have a very tiny screaming voice in my head that says we have no time.
And someone for whom time and space are merely toys, Bastian, our Dungeon Master, Game Master for today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Had a nice, relaxing week, some nice work as well. And really enjoyed last week with Space Marines and blowing up stuff, almost dying. Yeah. I'm
awesome.
good.
Shout out to the wonderful Redundant UK Tom, who hopped in last week to cover for me, and sounds like you all did a really good job on the Death Squad. So excited to see the fruits of that labor. I'm Charlie, Frost from Fire on the Twitters. I will be playing Matilda, former Inquisitor, always Psyker. But before we deep dive into our summary of last session, let's go around and talk about our sponsors. We have, of course, Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice. All of the beautiful maps and roles you see tonight are done using Fantasy Grounds. You can try it for free at fantasygrounds.com. You can also get all of your miniatures and more from Wayland Games. Go to waylandgames.co.uk. Get yourself a huge range of D&D, Warhammer, 40k minis, and more, 20% off. I nearly said the wrong amount, but it's 20% off. And finally, be sure to check out our sponsor, Tabletop Loot, who sell amazing dice. If we hit 20 retweets, we will give away a set of those amazing dice to one of you in chat. You can also support the show by retweeting, which I just mentioned, so do that. And finally, you can interact with today's show with the following ways: donating to affect the game by giving the players nat 1s, nat 20s, wild magic surges, and of course, we have the Table of Pets. My Mind Mammoth is still going strong, so thank you very much for that. If there's a moment during today's show that you really enjoy, clip it. We love going back and looking at those moments and using them for Twitch highlight reels, and more. Without any further ado, I believe Jason is doing our summary today.
Yes, he is. Because we find ourselves back on the Emperor's Justice, was it? No, well, that's not your initiative.
Emperor's Son.
Emperor's Son, that's the one. I'm getting closer with my memory, so... where the captain of the Death Watch squad hands you the mission report. He already, I'm gonna assume the artifact has already been transferred is in stasis wherever you please on the ship, next to the other item, or, well, I'll leave that up to the Inquisitor. and posse. So, Vasily, actually, Jason, would you like to do the summary in the form of the captain's report? And I'll
Yes.
quickly do this.
Do this, do that. Do a lot of things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Alrighty. So, Kifkin, after a while, you receive a little bit of a notification from aboard the Emperor's Son from the Hammer of Vengeance before it leaves the system. Captain Zachariel Terrian, if I'm not mistaken, was the name. The captain of the Death Watch squad, which did so elegantly complete the task set before it, has reached out in contact with you. Inquisitor. As a point of formality, I have been tasked with summarizing the preceding day's events. As per your request, formally submitted and approved by my superiors, a Death Watch team was dispatched to secure an artifact of indeterminate power and origin from an orc war boss of the Bat Boys clan, who had, by all accounts, looted said artifact from ruins of unknown origin which were found planetside. After investigating these ruins and confirming the Eldari presence you had speculated upon in your initial request for aid, my squad and I faithfully executed the mission set before us, albeit with the unfortunate discovery of an operational Orcish spacefaring vessel, which, regrettably, launched into orbit successfully. Once clear from the Greenskins Company, a brief rendezvous between our vessels was conducted, wherein the artifact was delivered unto your care and confirmed to be psychically dampening in nature. To what extent is currently unexamined. Once completed, my team was recalled and now currently awaits further service to our Emperor. I do not envy your current predicament, Inquisitor. Emperor, guide us. Captain Zachariel Terrian, Death Watch. Omitted from the report, however, is the recovery of the body of a true Eldari Farseer whose soul stone had been shattered by this eminently clever orc, or at least had been apparently shattered by this eminently clever orc. Questions still abound, obviously, but the artifact, the gauntlet, is now in our possession. And with the answers that we seek may come more questions.
The first question being, does Kifkin share the report with the rest initially? Or just does he do a debriefing? I'd say a debriefing is good. Just start today. And you can decide on what you want to share from it.
He'll do a debrief, but he's not in a sharing mood. More along the lines of just gathering everybody, probably in the ship's library, gathering the acolytes together to do the debrief, as well as have the stasis carrier with the gauntlet present. So, surprise, surprise, my request for aid was actually fulfilled by the Death Watch, and they did exactly what they needed to do and got us this. Setting the stasis vault on the table. We got a name, fortunately, from them as to the nature of the clan that we're dealing with. Bat Boys. Guessing by the iconography and the contempt in the Death Watch report that they're more clever than usual. Also, I am mildly miffed that they had an entire ship on planet that our scanners couldn't pick up and managed to get away with said ship. But our fears / visions were confirmed that there was definitively Eldar presence on planet that the orcs managed to slaughter. But now we have two pieces to a puzzle that assembles an item of immense power that, if anybody possesses, is going to cause a lot of trouble. And we need to find the other pieces before everyone else does. I leave that to your hands, because right now, I have to figure out how to keep this system safe.
Seems a mercifully simple task. Vasily at that point kind of like leans back in his chair. He's not really concerned with the whole thing, but you see him actually being not stripped down to his skivvies, but basically like only wearing his coat and not much underneath, because he's, with the power that you've given him, Kifkin, been running the combat drills, like, and the standby soldiers ragged, especially that navigator who was kind of rude to him. So, yeah.
The navigator was nice to you.
He was not. He denied me information. He could. Yeah,
He offered you tea.
We made you a cup of tea? Yeah. It was very nice.
Vasily does not interpret it.
Didn't grovel.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main reason. But he'll further say, if it's a race, then it's a race. We can move faster than any orc horde. The Eldar may prove a problem, but in terms of firepower, I would assume us to be on the superior end of that particular discussion.
I am just certain that the Eldar are going to be a persistent thorn in the side. As to whether or not they have some of these pieces already, probably won't be known for some time. But they're in this race with us, cultists and orcs. I'm hoping, Emperor be praised if it's true, that the orcs were just opportunists. But this leads us back to a cult which is trying to find artifact pieces to a suit that can remove one's signature from the warp, deny a psyker their powers. One of the greatest weapons that the Imperium has is a sanctioned psyker. And if somebody were to possess enough of these to shield themselves, or even worse, reverse engineer how this was made, the Imperium would be in dire straits. And so we need to find out where the heretics are now. We managed to purge Thalanum 3. I'm just hoping in our zealousness that there's still some leads. Matilda, I don't like asking this of you. Not after what we've seen. But I need
What
you.
is it, Kifkin?
We're operating without much of a rudder. Almost no clues. If you can find them. Because I don't remember where they were placed. Or if we retrieved them or not. But I need you to find Safinia's Emperor's Tarot. Use them as a focus. Give us another lead.
I will do what I can, Inquisitor.
Thank you. Albucasis, you can play with your new toy. Just be immensely careful. I also need to find out if we can actually get a full composition analysis of this so I can transmit it back to whatever watchtower and inform the Death Watch as to what to look out for. So,
I'm
by
always careful.
that remains to be seen. But I need to know how this is made, where it comes from, and where we might be able to look next to find the other pieces. This I leave in your hands.
I will do what I can. And he all but skips off with the gauntlet.
All right. One thing of note for everyone is that the orc vessel that left the surface, you actually, it's gone now, by the way, but you did pick it up on the ship's radars as soon as it came into higher orbit and actually inside of your scanner range, so to say, because you were on the opposite side of the planet to avoid detection. It left into the warp with the 3 onslaught interceptors, and well, it's gone from there. It was a light cruiser classification, and it seems to have been fitted with about double the amount of engines a normal light cruiser would have.
Well, at least we dodged that bullet. Vasily, on top of what access I've already granted you, I need you to read up on every bit of Imperial tactics, what have you, for dealing with all forms of Eldar, as well as anti-psyker protocols, and get the crew ready. I have a sneaking suspicion before this is over, we're going to be dealing with Eldar borders. And I need our ship to be able to fend them off.
I shall do so right away. And I'll just look around at the library. Seems a good place to start.
Yes. Tilda, I leave you to your task. I am going to go to the ship's mess and have a drink. If you need me, you can hail me. But for the meantime, unless you have something important, I'd rather not be disturbed. With that, he heads off.
Okay. So, what does the rest do?
Albucase's first experiment is to put the gauntlet and the helm in the same stasis field.
Okay.
And he wants to see what, if any, field is developed or is nullified, any connection monitoring information, anything that connects them.
Okay. Well, initial, you don't have your full sensor array inside the stasis field, of course. That would doesn't fit.
Right.
But your initial reports from this are that they don't create any anything visual. So there are just 2 items in the stasis field now. But if you look at the electromagnetic field, which you can get a rough reading from, they do seem to bond their fields rather than be 2 items with their own area around it.
Right, got it. How sensitive of equipment does Albucases have access to? I mean, can he look at proton quarks, that kind of things, that type of activity.
Well, you would need probably a building-sized lab to support a machine like that, which you would have on your Forge world, but not on a ship.
Okay. Next step is to test the composition of the metal of the gauntlet and compare it to the composition of the metal from the helmet.
How did we? I think last time when we tried to get the metal from it,
Was able to take a flake.
yeah. But you had to roll me a technology for that, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. Would you like another one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, dear God. I was rolling so well last week.
Yeah, you spent all that good
yeah,
fortune.
Karma's
Mhm.
catching up with me.
So that's a 15.
Yep, that's a 15 total.
Yeah, with a 15, you don't manage to grab a flake, and it's like when you're using a standing knife to cut into something. If you cut into metal, it works for a bit until it quickly becomes dull. You feel the same with the equipment you're using here to try to get the flake out. So it's kind of just scrapes off and becomes dull.
Okay, then he's gonna see what he can get off of just the whole piece. If he can do a scan of the gauntlet itself for composition.
Yeah, you're basically your surface. The scans you can get here pretty much give you identical compositions on both the gauntlet and the helm.
Okay.
And with better equipment, you can get more or more time. It's either of those, and the combination of those will give you a lot more.
Yep. So once he's there are other experiments that he's going to be doing, but or they're going to be doing, but they are going to send a formal request to Inquisitor Kipkin to head back to the Forge world. They need at least a day in their lab with these two pieces.
Yeah. All right.
There's simply not enough here to do it.
Yeah. All right. What was Vasily doing in the meantime? Can you remind me?
During that time, having been tasked with sort of researching these foes that he's never actually heard of or really considered before, Vasily would be going through historical tactics and sort of battlefield reports concerning Eldar, common Eldar attack methods and squad composition, like stuff like that, using the library as the primary source, and then maybe even reaching out to people aboard the ship, seeing if any of the soldiers have any experience with Eldar, because his mainly lies with like subversive groups and orcs primarily. So I guess that would be a role for Adeptus Militarum history.
Yeah.
All right. It's an expertise I got. So let's see how it goes. That did not roll into the thingy. Hiya. Hey, so 15 plus that, 25.
25. With a 25, you have some memory of battles. I don't think your company actually fought any, right? No. And mostly it is to do with them. There's some troops that can seemingly dodge any bullet. Others that are not in the same place as you would expect them. They're, if I just grab my little bit of history as well here. And they have very deadly weapons. penetrating armor you would not expect. Their tanks are mostly anti-grav vehicles, so not tracked but flying themselves, either anti-grav or flying, and hold some sort of lance weapons mostly. That's your general take you can get from that. And the normal troops would be armed with guns that shoot some sort of shurikens is not the right word, shards at very high velocity, penetrating most any standard issue armor. So the preference is not to get hit at all, rather than trying to flak armor it away or stand in front of it, as you would expect. And mostly, you don't have any recollection of any drawn-out battles, like pitched battles. Most of them are skirmishes, or in which the Empire pretty much lost, but it's not written down as that. As in, they say we drove them off after some time of fighting with minimal survivors.
Very disconcerting. He'll then modify the sort of training to include a lot more avoidance tactics, close combat, sort of close quarters combat drills, and he'll even institute something a little bit crazy. He will have it be to where there's basically 15 minutes of live fire weapons training, where they are told to aim at targets that basically randomly appear on the range. Like, there is no rhyme or reason to them, just that they appear and then suddenly disappear, and that they have to, within those 15 minutes, get as many shots off on those particular dummies as quickly as possible.
All right. That will keep you busy for a while. Definitely. Just for I drew how the gravity fields would look. If you had the previous readings, it would just have been a circle around either item, but now there seems to be like a gravitation in between, with a slightly stronger fields towards one side.
All right. And I sent you a message. There are other experiments, but I sent you a message.
I'll get to reading those in a moment. So what does Matilda do?
Matilda will have asked Donnie to go and search Stefania's things for the tarot cards. She's still a little woozy and out of things from the psychic blast that basically happened when the Farseer was killed, and her brief dunk in the Navigator's tank. But she intends to do what Kipkin has asked and see if she can find anything through premonition or by reaching out more to the Emperor, seeking guidance. Because she believes that we need to hunt the cultists. Hunting for the Eldar is extremely difficult, as we've learned.
It is. Yeah, so Donnie will actually return with... he will go search Stefania's old quarters, and he comes back with 2 items. He put them in a small box. One of them is the Imperial Tarot, as expected, and the other is a small ragdoll. And just gives them to Matilda. This is what I found in the quarters that were not equipment.
Matilda will look at the ragdoll for a few moments, but then focus in on the tarot. Too tired to linger on the doll for too long right now, but definitely not willing to let that thing out of her sight. As I think the loss of Stephania is weighing on her more now that she's had this wave of mourning hit her, and it's unlocked a lot of mourning that she hasn't done for a lot of people. But she'll take the tarot and she'll ask Donnie to go and help Kipkin and Vasily with whatever preparations they are making. That she needs some time alone.
Donnie will actually go see Kipkin. We'll get to that in a moment. So the tarot, if I am correct, it's a deck of 87 psychoactive liquid crystal wafers. So they're already psychically active. And you would pull, I think, 3 cards, then 1 central card, and then another 3 cards top to bottom, if I remember correctly. And you would first have to, so basically you would shuffle the deck and then lay down the cards on their backs with upside down. And as they are turned, you interpret the meaning. And the second and fourth cards are signifiers, generally bringing clarity to what came before. Let's see. Doesn't really matter too much. So that would bring you to draw. Where's my pen? I only have pen. I only have that would bring you to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 cards, and the first one. The first one that you turn is actually the Eye of Horus. And now I should need a pen, not that I actually have. Never mind, I have a computer in front of me. Why am I wasting my time, right? So the first one was the Eye of Horus. The second one is the Blind Seer. Then the third one, you get the Young Warrior. And the fourth one, which would be the central card. Let me check what I want there. Is another signifier, which is the Warped. And the bottom row, it will give you the Sword, the Inquisitor, and then the Executioner. Now, I will let you try to read into that as much as you can and give you hints as you do.
Wow, okay. So it's 3 cards basically along the top,
row?
right?
Yeah.
That'd be Eye of Horus, Blind Seer, Young Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Then in the middle we've got the Warped. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And then bottom row, Sword, Inquisitor, Executioner.
Yeah. So generally speaking, the Blind Seer would tell something about the Eye of Horus, which is in itself a contradiction. And the Warped will tell you something about the Young Warrior.
Okay. I think Matilda spends a long time staring down at the cards, second guessing herself as she tries to figure it out, wondering if she is the eye and she's currently blind, wondering who the warrior is, and remembering the premonition of seeing Donnie fighting with the orc. Thinking of the idea of a sword and Inquisitors, and between the rest of her crew at this point, and just going backwards and forwards about it all, trying to figure out if it means people, if it means actions. She was looking for a direction, and it almost feels as if they're on the right path in some ways in what she's seeing, because all of these elements are things that she could recognize, she could see, but the young warrior being warped, she's trying to understand which warrior that is. How do the sword and the Inquisitor and the Executioner relate?
Well, if you go in chronological order, they could mean a fight. The Inquisitor pretty much, you almost always assume if it comes up is about you, in this case, Kifkin. And it could either be that the Executioner could come for the Inquisitor, or the other way around, where the Inquisitor is the Executioner. The sword would be a means.
It's very militant and justice-based elements.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of judge, jury, executioner going on, with the jury being represented by a sword, which is very swift as a form of justice. Of course, she knows that she has a sword, but she's given that to Donnie, and she knows that Vasily likes a flaming sword. But perhaps there is something else coming for us as she raised up this Inquisitor and she placed Kipkin into his position of power, and perhaps other people may have opinions on that promotion. But I think overall she gets the sense that time is running out and that we really need to figure out what we're doing, and quickly, because otherwise we're just going to get swept up and away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she will... Is there a form of text messaging? Is that a thing?
Well, yeah, of course, up the ship's intercom, and you can use the computers to send the others messages.
Okay, so she'll voice to text, because Matilda is illiterate. Voice to text and hope that it translates properly. And she will tell Kipkin that the cards tell us to hurry, that soon we will face judgment, and that ahead of us is a battle that we can't avoid.
All right. And Kifkin, you were in the mess drinking?
Yeah, he is in the mess with a tin teacup and a bottle of liquor, just looking at data slates and scrolls, as well as a local sector map. Just looking at everything, but most part he's not even looking. He is just sitting there, rocking back in the chair and drinking as he's just taking the first break, and I'm guessing just in a few moments he won't be alone.
Yeah, because Donnie finds you in the mess, and basically joins you for a drink. In silence, initially. Yeah, and when you look at him, I was told to wait while Matilda read her tarot.
Yeah. I'm hoping we get some insight. I'm not going to hold my breath.
So how are you holding up, sir?
I'm, by all accounts, relatively fine. But we're in a race against implacable foes to try and acquire a thing that shouldn't exist.
But it does.
Yes.
So, the orc threat on the planet left?
There's probably some outliers, and most definitely there's some spores. And from here on out, there's going to need to be a resettlement, which is going to take an immense undertaking. Hopefully, we can con some rogue traders into trying to do that for us. And then switch the tithe of this planet from ores to military. That way there's already a military presence when those orc spores sprout, hopefully making feral orcs as opposed to bat boys. But I'm not going to hold my breath on that either.
Tough threat they are, I guess. Oh well. So, what about this elder?
By all accounts,
What are they?
considering that- Oh. They're a ancient species, predating humanity. They are enigmatic. They come in many different forms, many different cultures. The ones that we are facing off, I'm guessing, are Craft World Eldar. Craft World means an immense ship. Something along the lines of Oriana class battleship or larger, which holds a vast number of them as they have fled from the horrors that they've unleashed upon the cosmos, because their civilization, to what I can and have read, essentially fucked a god into existence.
Sounds tragic.
There's not much tragedy considering that they all think us primitive monkeys. And that's at best. The derogatory term for us in their language is Monkai.
So, did their leader die on the planet of this group?
Their potent psyker died on the planet. I don't know if it was their leader. Not all of their potent psychers are necessarily gifted leadership. It is those that have the support of their craft world become sort of a shepherd, as the way of the Farseer is one of prophecy and portent. But they also come with martial capabilities. Them dying, especially to a cunning orc, one that knows to shoot a soulstone, that has marks of something else entirely. And
didn't Donnie knows about what Matilda saw, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. But didn't the elder say you're not supposed to be here?
yes, which could mean any number of things. One, and the easiest supposition, is that the Farseer saw Matilda and her psychic wake. The second being that the war boss was raised up by the Farseer as a tool. This is not the first time this has happened in Imperial record. and, well, it bit the Eldar in the ass.
How would an orc find a place like that, though?
Orcs operate on illogical logic. Blind luck, or in our case, blind misfortune, often leads the orcs into the Imperium and causes us to clash. But there has been times when either the Eldari, or with much chagrin, the Inquisition have manipulated the orcs to a task. And I wouldn't put it past the Eldar to have tried to raise this one up to fetch its many, many pieces. And, well, orcs being unpredictable, it fetched the piece, all right. It was just in the place that the Eldar thought they weren't going to be. But I have a sneaking suspicion, given everything in the case going all the way back to Nalata, that there's another hand at play, and I'm not entirely certain as to whom. I know some of the resources I could reach out to, but due to time constraints and the nature of the warp, I doubt I get the answers I seek soon enough. That's some decent rock gut. Anyway. No. Those are the most likely cases. There could be a third, in which case we are in far deeper trouble than I first imagined. But that's me being paranoid, because it has to be one of the first.
Yeah, well, I guess if you deal with these kind of things, then you're bound to become paranoid. I'm just happy I'm not in your shoes and he drinks as well.
Yeah, I'm beginning to understand why I'm in this predicament and why you get to be in those most comfortable shoes, Donnie. Enjoy it. Pray that you never end up with, as he pulls out the Imperial Seal, one of these.
I don't think I'm made for that thing. And I'll have a cut back to the janitor, as it has done. If they have done some extra investigation into, the field. You did some extra investigation on the field, and one thing you can get from that is that as you move them around. There's this bonding, and then there's an opening towards a direction of the gravity field, just like the images from the black hole I used as a reference for how it looks on the scanners. And no matter what relation you put to items, the opening in the field it's really small, but it's always in the same direction.
That is interesting. Going to call up a star map, orient it with our ship's location, and see where the hole points.
Mm-hmm. In this, it points pretty much opposite of Sci-fi 2, if I'm correct, where you are now anchored.
Okay.
Let me double check that.
Basically using a three-dimensional map with the field in the middle at our location with the hole.
Mm-hmm.
A direct line from that hole goes to where?
Yeah, it goes in the relative area of Harata, so to say, in this point of time. but it's not. If you draw a line, it doesn't go straight over it. It does go straight from Scythe to your ship and then away. So you have the Scythe Star.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that? No, it's actually in between. It's going straight to Scythe the Star. That's the one. Sorry. So
Okay,
you
so
have you have the star, and if you can pretty much draw a line to the items from that, or with the opening.
Urgent message to Kifkin to come to the lab immediately.
Well, Donnie, it looks like drinking's over. Time to head to the lab. As Kifkin gets up, then I think right at that moment, as he's leaving the mess, is when he gets the message over his wristcom with Matilda's interpretation. I already it. As he stomps off towards the lab.
All right. I will be back in a moment as you can discuss with Elder Cases.
Yes, janitor. You need to see me.
Yes, Inquisitor. Look. And he points to the display.
Okay, I'm seeing some sort of field.
Yes, what you're seeing is an electromagnetic field. Everything has one. It's a thing. Individually, and sometimes when you have two items and you put them together, their fields stay separate. Sometimes when you put them together, their fields combine. It becomes much more powerful. Which these two items did do. But there's a hole in the field. And no matter which way you orient the items, and at this point, I mean, they're manipulating the objects to demonstrate, the hole moves. That hole points directly to the star of the system. From this planet, through us, ship to the star. Do you see the line?
Yes. All right. We need to jump systems in order to do an experiment.
And Albacasis is also at this point trying to determine if the whole is the absence of anything else besides what is the absence of?
Sorry, the absence of
the hole in the electromagnetic field. The hole that's created.
It's more like so. If you have the flaring rings around it, the flares pull in that direction. Like if it were a perfect circle, it would open up towards that side.
Okay, so it's okay. Got it. You did get my other message about needing to go back to my lab, correct?
Yes, but we're going to do an experiment for my sake. We're going to do a quick jump. I want you to observe those fields while we're in the warp, especially with all the instruments aboard this vessel continuing to track the presence of Scythe's sun whilst we're in the warp. I want to do about a 4-hour jump and see if it maintains orientation or not.
Very well.
then we'll see about transiting towards your lab, because we need better analysis. But I have a sneaking suspicion. But maintain all your instrumentation, and I'll head towards the helm and inform the captain that we're going to be making a micro warp jump. Okay, fun. This is so much fun.
Would you like something for that headache?
I already took it. This headache is not one that's going to improve with chems. This is one that's going to improve with answers. Thank you, Albucasis. And keep me posted.
Yes, of course, Inquisitor. And they begin immediately setting up for the experiment.
Mm-hmm.
This is Kifkin speaking. All hands, please make ready for a jump to the warp. Everyone to stations, please. Be ready to make transition to warp.
As you broadcast that message, you do get a in your systems a ping from your navigator.
Yes.
Sir, I believe we have to travel to a suitable warp location first before we can attempt to.
Yeah, we gotta make with all haste.
Any direction?
We're going to head to, I would say, the most stable point in the system before we make transition. And then I would like to just do a small warp jump to the edge of the system before we drop out of warp.
I will make the necessary calculations for that.
Thank you. In the meantime, just make ready. I'm going to make my way to the bridge. I really hope I don't end up being right.
It will take about another 20-30 minutes on impulse to reach the most stable warp location in the system, as similar to how you arrived. Anything you would like to do in that time for the rest as well?
Kifkin's just gonna make his way to the bridge
Mhm.
and make all ready. No need to inform anyone in case he's wrong.
Okay.
Vasily will still be conducting combat trials, even though this sort of warning has been published. He's adamant about making sure that the troops understand, at least on a theoretical level, the threats that they face. So even with the modified conditions, it's just like, nope, still got 15 minutes. Like if the call went out at 13 minutes, they'd still have to keep firing for 2 minutes before they could even hope to find some place to brace themselves.
All right. And how about Matilda?
Matilda is gonna go and find Donnie. Concerned from her reading, she kind of wants to go and check him over in a way, worried that maybe he's become corrupted or warped in some way during their encounter with the orc before, or just see if there's something lingering in his mind or something. She's become kind of paranoid, and she wants to go and check in on that. And the fact that we're about to go to warp, as she understands it, and she remembers the knocking from before. And Matilda has a sick fascination with the warp anyway. So yeah, she wants to go check in on Donnie before we go to the dark side even briefly.
Okay. Donnie is right outside your room on the bridge by now. He left before, while Kipkin was at the janitor. He's pretty much going over stations, talking with people.
Okay, so this is what I want to do. Before she goes to him, she gets that young warrior card, and she's going to go through the rest of the deck and look for like a blessing card of some, or a protection card, something of those lines. And she's going to pair them together, and she's going to take those two with her, with the intention of discreetly hiding them somewhere in Donnie's uniform with a sleight of hand.
All right. Let's have a look. The candle could be a sort of
The
protection.
candle, sun,
Yeah.
holy shield of the emperor.
Mhm. What else do we have? The Emperor's Throne in some combinations. And are you considering him to be the warrior in this case?
Yes, definitely in this case. I don't know if she's 100% set on that being the interpretation of the cards, but that's definitely one interpretation that's quite strong in her head.
I'm taking a quick look if I can find a pair with the warrior. Well, normally it would be the sword, if you pair it with the warrior because the sword protects.
Yeah.
But then,
She knows what that card
you
is.
use the sword. So
Yeah,
it kinda
we'll
would
give
work.
him. Yeah, we'll use the sword unless there's something else that like instantly jumps out. I should just bring those in combination. Almost trying to rewrite what she's seen in a way, I guess, if she's doing that. And yeah, she'll bring them and she'll go and kind of insight on Donnie and then like sleight of hand to hide those protective psychic cards on him.
all right, you can roll me an insight.
Natural 20 plus 10, I think. No, 5. 25.
25. Well, with a natural 20, though, Donnie is relatively calm at the moment. He's looking to keep busy, so to say, while you were off doing psychic stuff.
Spooky things.
Yeah.
She can't see any like strange ticks or I don't know, anything that's like okay.
Currently, there's nothing off compared to how
That
you're
makes
used to.
Matilda very happy.
Yeah.
And yeah, she'll like I'm imagining he's in like the combat gear still, and I imagine that has a lot of pockets, like a tactical vest with, so she'll just like tuck the cards in there and just not say anything about it.
All right. Let's see if he notices. Do you have a sleight of hand or stealth?
I think I have stealth. Yes, plus 10 on stealth.
Okay. He doesn't notice. Look at what I rolled. He doesn't notice you until you. Do you actually greet him, or do you sneak away?
Yeah, I imagine she kind of comes up beside him and like almost like puts an arm around him, and like as she makes that gesture, that's when the cards are kind of put there.
Then he'll turn. Hey, I didn't expect you.
I thought I'd better report to the bridge. It sounds like we are going to warp.
Yes, I don't know where we're going either, though.
We're making a micro jump.
That's when Kivkin comes running up the bridge, or
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm. And I imagine the both of you just turning to as he comes on.
For what purpose, Kipkin?
Terrible science.
My favorite kind of science. I am so glad I get to be here to watch you work.
I'm just making
Tell me-
certain.
Kipkin, was this Albucasis' idea?
Oh no, Albucasis is just wanting to get back home to use the really big instruments. No, this is me thinking that one of three possibilities is at play because there's a hole in an electromagnetic field. And I'm hoping it's option one. Let's hope for option one.
What is option one?
That our artifacts are pulling upon the whatever nearest star's electromagnetic field is as either an energy sink or dump. But
You said there were three options. What is option two?
that one of the artifacts is either tied to or in the heart of this star, which makes things complicated. Option
Will make
three,
it very difficult to retrieve it, at least.
yeah. Option three is we're going to find those Eldar. So let's hope for option one.
Why do you fear option three?
Because we're not ready.
I'm afraid, Kifkin, that this isn't going to wait for us to be ready.
Anyway, let's science.
All
As
right.
you wish, Inquisitor. Matilda would like to take the captain's seat as usual.
Okay. You say that and like walk up to it. Flop down.
Yeah. Just walks and expects whoever was sat in it to move.
So what
This
does
is
the
in
janitor prepare in terms of experiments?
The janitor is going to do their best to create a way to visualize this field as they transfer through the warp. Is going to continue to track the movement of the field, and the opening will be reorienting the two artifacts to see if that hole stays in place, if that opening is stable. And we'll also be trying to see what happens if they block it. We'll also be monitoring for any possible effects of the chaos or the warp on the artifacts. So every scan, every monitoring equipment that they have available to them are focused on those artifacts, taking every possible reading that they can obtain as they do this.
Okay. Let's have a look. You managed to bring... well, you can roll me a technology to see how well you set up the sensors first.
That's a 22.
A 22. A 22 will give you a fairly good reading. You're pretty sure you're going to get pretty much all that would be going on. And as you close on the location, the jump location, all of a sudden, you just get your readings online, like your visualization online, and it's about 1 or 2 minutes till the scheduled jump, and you suddenly see this field going from the sun, turning around, and that's when the entire ship rumbles from the impact of an explosion. And the alarms go off.
Inquisitor, the field changed.
Busy, Albucasis. Busy.
The field changed with whatever just happened.
Kifkin, what did just happen?
Everyone report. I need to know precisely what just went boom.
As you asked that, people that were on the bridge rushed to their stations, and the first thing you get is from the scanner station is, "Sir, we've got an enemy vessel at about 3 o'clock, fired their weapons at us, bringing void shields online."
You may
Continue
want to cancel that jump.
No, we're jumping.
And you get a fire on deck 4 near the bow. Emergency team responding from your situation station.
We need that fire put out, and we need to make the jump as soon as possible. We do not have the firepower to go and deal with a full-on sortie right now.
What is that ship?
Probably the Eldar.
You get a reading, like a picture taken from a reading, from the direction of the shot, which is a very sleek, elegant ship, almost like well, I don't have a picture on hand, but like a spaceship with sails, and it was. The picture is taken as it turns and then proceeded to be obscured for your sensors again.
Fucking shadow fields. All right.
I believe that they have another artifact on board that ship.
Wouldn't be surprised, Albucasis. Wouldn't be surprised. But right now, we need to flee. But in the meantime,
Kifkin, I am sure they will follow us.
that's the
We
plan.
cannot run forever. Where are we jumping to that you think it will be safer?
No, we're not jumping to safety. We're jumping to buy me time. As he rushes, jumps over the console to the comms, and just starts staring at everything, wiping his eyes and going, "Okay, Eldari lessons. Let's remember the entire language right damn now. Also, if I'm an egotistical bastard, how do I want my ego stroked to give myself time?"
Vasily.
I think, Vasily will have made his way to the bridge with probably the arrangement of soldiers that he just, finished training with, full gear on, and kind of looking around. "Inquisitor? Orders?"
Everyone to battle stations. We're going to try and make the micro jump. Once we're in the warp, they're either going to actually pursue us, which will be a feat for them, or they are going to meet us where we come out. I need to see. In the meantime, be ready for borders and have half of our armsmen be ready for emergency teams. They're going to fire at least one more time before we slip out. But in the meantime, I have to prepare compliments to some sort of Xenos bastard just to confuse them. It's a thing. But yeah, no, get ready, because we may see in a few seconds, if they really want to keep us from running, a few boarding craft.
Fair enough. Vasily's going to bring up the eviscerator, kick it into overdrive, and turn around to the people who followed him. "Right! Anyone who doesn't run faster than this gets to serve on the emergency response. Now!" He's just going to stomp off the bridge.
All right.
And as he stops on the bridge, just like a subtle thumbs up coming from the comm station. as Kifkin is just hammering away, trying to put all the words in the right places for this one message he's planning on transmitting.
Okay.
Matilda, Donnie, get ready to defend the bridge. If those boarding craft contain what I think they contain, we're going to have guests very quickly.
As you wish, Inquisitor.
Oh, Albocasis, please secure the artifacts, and for all of your servo skulls as well as yourself, get them online to target with prejudice. Anyone who enters your station until we drop out of warp is considered a dire threat. Fire for effect.
Oh, is Vasily coming for a visit?
No.
Overcoms. Hilarious. As he's just running after these poor soldiers with the eviscerator in hand.
Bastian,
Understood.
mechanical question.
Yes.
How tired is Matilda? Because she's not had a break, really, right? Aside from while the Death Squad was going on.
Well, while the Death Watch squad was going on, she had, I think, you had 2 weeks of waiting before they actually arrived. So.
Oh, that's fine then. Just good.
Yeah. So you could, anyone will have recovered.
At which point, can I do a pushing psycho scan, see if I can find if they've got an overseer on board?
Yes, you definitely can do something like that. You can try. Just roll me.
Yeah.
So, how are you pushing out? Like, because you're gonna look at the other.
So she's
in the
sat
other
in the captain's chair, and so she pushes out into that warp space, and she's doing what she normally does, which is look for an absence. And she's looking for a real big absence because she knows what an overseer feels like in her head now, and she knows what it feels like when one goes boom. So she's looking for that feeling.
Yeah. So you don't actually look into the warp, but you look into the alternate reality of the psychic realm. And as you look out of the bridge's windows, you do not per se feel see the absence of a farseer or a farseer themselves, but you do, similar to how the artifacts do not show up on have their own like blank, so to say. You do sense something like that close by as well, and it is circling from the front left from 3 o'clock, currently moving across the bow, and it's a general sense of
Matilda like poofs straight back into her body and gives the directional information just straight out as fast as she can to let the bridge crew know where that ship is, and she will confirm to Kipkin that Albocasis is right. There is another artifact out there.
Okay, good. Now I just need to transmit this message. With that, Kifkin is going to try and do a technology roll to send on all frequencies a message in Eldar. Greetings, friend. We would like to parlay with you about the current artifacts as well as the death of your Farseer. I send my condolences as to their passing. We do not need to partake in hostilities here. Instead, we're going to make a jump out of system because we do know that you need your privacy, and those orcs are probably watching. Please follow.
You sent it out there, and Albocasis, you were what were you doing in the meantime?
Monitoring the hole in the field. And
Basically, you also see those flares moving from 3 o'clock, currently at 9 o'clock.
And having heard Matilda's broadcast as well, that confirmed a hypothesis that he had, and he puts up his strongest stasis field. He wants to block the electromagnetic field. He wants to block anybody from being able to read it.
Okay.
He's going to create his own hole.
Okay. You can roll me a technology for that as you're trying to supercharge the stasis field. Failure means the opposite, of course, but I think
23.
with a 23, you managed to reinforce it, and I'll use the 23 as a benchmark to see if counter detection. Just like similar to a stealth roll for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, any other actions the group should take?
Albucasis is locking down the lab. Given the what he knows of Eldar and everything, he's making conditions as difficult in his lab for them to enter as possible.
Okay.
While still maintaining that stasis field.
Vasily, meanwhile, he'll send an extra detachment to the lab, specifically to the exterior, so that they can keep, like, the ones who performed best during training, and send them over there, while he goes around basically trying to not only put out the fires, but determine where the Eldar, based on, his knowledge, where they might try to board, and positioning himself like there as closely as possible.
Okay.
It's all conjecture, but it's it's what he's got to work with.
Yeah. So as soon as you supercharge the stasis field, your reading of direction diminishes from like a flare in a direction to like a 180 degrees direction. It's not as precise anymore. As you manage to shield it out, it's like barely visible what direction the ship is in your sensors now. And Matilda, you step? Yeah, you had to step back to report on it, right?
Yeah, she's back in her body in the captain's seat.
Yeah. Okay. So she was sleeping for just a moment in the chair, and it's perfect time to go sleep. Shortly after you take those actions, there's a second large impact on the ship, and new reports come in of damage to engine deck. As the sensor give a confirmation of the location, which is 6 o'clock, pretty much right behind you. And you have slightly longer to actually respond to this before it vanishes out of view.
All right, all gunners, target macro cannons. Fire not at the ship. I want it every place around the ship. I want to cut off their field of fire. If they're going to fire at any other lances or whatnot, it's going to be through a cloud of lead. Buy us time to
acknowledge the order. And you get a response. It's actually written, not spoken. And it says, you will hand over the items and we will allow you to flee.
Written quickly back, gladly, at the agreed upon coordinates. Or are you the Monkai in this situation?
The what? Sorry?
The Monkai in this situation. All in Eldar.
Well, I don't speak Elder.
It's monkey. It's
Monkai.
yeah, it's close enough.
Yeah, sure.
Meanwhile, transmitting to Albucasis. Oh, they're going to take the artifacts. Albucasis, you're a janitor. I'm going to buy you as much time as I can. I need you to come up with a deadly viral agent and put it inside those items. Specifically keyed to the Eldar strain of gene code. I'm giving you full authority to use bioweapons in this case. They are going to make off with their prize, but I'm going to kill a craft world with this.
I like the way you think, Inquisitor. And they're already working.
All right. The ship basically disappears from the radars, from the sensors again. It was about a kilometer out, rather than the usual 7 to 8 you would expect from space combat. And you can... Well, no one took command of the scanner, so I will roll for your scanner station. Oh, damn. Yeah, that's good. That's not too good, though. Because you do not notice the boarding vessels that have attached themselves to deck 4, which is where you now get reports from crew shooting.
Immediately, Vasily will be down there, eviscerator like at the ready, just to start killing.
Mm-hmm.
Matilda would like to attempt a premonition to see what's about to happen.
Okay. Yes, you can. You can. We'll quiet the scene for that.
As hell is breaking loose around her.
Roll me a psycho check. Oh, no.
No.
You try, but you feel sort of blocked. It could be the stress, it could be the Eldar close by, it could be you rolling badly. So we will go back to action.
Concentrate up here. And she's gonna go into her room because she needs to focus, because she has shit that she's gonna need to do, and she needs to figure out what it is, and she can't do it with everyone running around and screaming about genocide and all these horrible things that are just happening around her. So yeah, she's gonna go into the captain's quarters.
Yeah. Donnie, in the meantime, on the bridge, orders the bridge guard to secure all the doors and set up a perimeter against hostile boarding. We will go to Jason. Jason, being Vasily, told us. You rush down to deck 4. Okay. I think the ship has about 6 or 7 main decks, and then there's service shafts and systems you could crawl into. It's about in the middle of the ship. And as you arrive on the scene, you notice that there's sleek boarding vessels which have used the impacts from the earlier shot to find an entrance into the ship. And by the time you get there, there's no one. As soon as you come into the hallway where the opening is, there's fire into your corridor.
Oh, wonderful.
Like
Okay.
shots fired into your corridor.
Okay, fantastic. Do I recognize them as Eldari weapons?
Yes, definitely. It's
Not so bad.
basically almost a whistling of needles into the wall behind you as you duck into cover, and you get to decide how to take action there.
All right. I'm going to careen my head over whatever piece of cover that I have to see how far away they are in comparison to my position.
Yeah, so I'm gonna imagine this bridge as being the hallways being there's 2 hallways leading down the spine of the ship with some cross walks in between them, and then rooms around them. At the prow, you can expect storages on this deck, and some doors leading to the gun batteries as well on the outside. And then where the opening is pretty close to the prow of the ship, where there's only one room in between, and you can approach from this side or go around through the other walkway.
Okay, how far away are those shots from me, I guess? Could it be that I could literally run across the field and beat them down, or...
It's medium range, so you can use a full action to get there, or if you have a target now, if you see one, you can charge one. But you're gonna get a trained shot on you, regardless.
Okay. I'll basically try to rush the first one I see with the eviscerator.
All right. And who do you have with you?
I'll say that I've probably picked up about maybe a squad's worth of bodies,
ship security.
Ship security. Just people that I've sort of corralled as I've made this mad dash to Bridge 4.
Okay. Though they're looking at you, waiting for an order.
Suppressive fire, go! And I will immediately leave cover and rush the first Eldar bastard I see.
All right. So as you leap out of cover, your troops, several try to cross the hallway to get into cover on the other side and suppress fire from there. As let's say you have about 10 with you, and 3 of them just lean the corner and start firing down the range until you get into the line of fire. And instantly, 2 of them go down to Eldar fire, and you get shot at as well. Does an 18 hit you?
Just barely. I've got 15 for dodge, if I'm not mistaken.
Then you can roll me a toughness against effect 4.
Boop, boop. Bing bong. Haha. Gonna use a point of luck there.
That's a good start, right?
Because no. Okay, so 14 plus toughness, which due to my armor is 5, so 19.
19. Let's see. An 19 against damage 4 is just barely enough. You have 19? Oh yeah, you used to luck. Is exactly enough to beat the DC. So your what armor are you wearing?
Carapace.
So the shot, it hits you just enough to deflect off your carapace. Any closer and it would have definitely gone through. Whew. And you get the first sight of the assaulting the enemies. They're Eldar. They're similar to what Matilda described in her vision of the Eldar troops. They have a dark blue motif to their armor. So they have most of the shapes on the armor are circular. If you've ever seen Eldar, there's a lot of round shapes, a lot of opal shapes, and there's about around 5 in a firing squad in cover, and you can reach one if you want, the closest one, and you can make a hit at them at a -2 penalty because of the charging.
Perfectly fine. Yeah.
That is a critical hit.
And that is a 24 in total.
Yeah, but a critical hit, 20 always hits. So it's Pretty much, and it's a crit. So what would you like to do with the crits? You can add +5 to the effect rank, or you can have an alternate effect, anything from the normal list.
Let's go with that, just straight +5
right.
to the effect rank. Yeah.
What's your total effect then?
With an Eviscerator. Oh gosh, I had it written somewhere.
Probably.
Help!
What was your attack bonus?
My attack bonus is 4.
4, then you're capped at +8 effects at the moment.
Yes.
So the 13 with a +5.
Yeah. 13, so he's going to try to resist against your 13. Damage bonus 13. I get the 11 with a little bit of bonus. Basically, you manage to cut up this Eldar. Tell me how the Eviscerator cleaves him in half or something similar. Because he's an extra.
I imagine that it was where Vasily was, like dragging it behind him just so that he could get the speed. As soon as he jumps over the barrier, he's going to ice pick it downward into like the shoulder of this thing to where it just sort of like cleaves itself open and in half. He'll then look to the other 4 with like blood and everything and smiling just wildly.
All right. The other 4, and as you charge down, by the way, the troops behind you have joined you in the charge. As soon as they were no longer able to fire, and they have drawn their close combat weapons, sword and pistols, and are basically joining in a melee with the Eldar. 2 of them try to take you down. One of them tries to shoot you from close range, just point blank, and he rolls a 17.
Does hit, since dodge is only 15. So.
Yeah, so you can resist effect 4 again.
Hiya!
Definitely make it. And the other one has drawn a sleek, almost crystalline weapon, but that's just because my memories. And he just stabs mid air. He misses you.
Yeah, to flavor it up, I'll say that I wrench the weapon from his friend and parry it with the Eviscerator's like broadside.
Yeah, cool. I'll take it. That brings me back to you.
Well, I mean, it tried to take a swing at me. Pivot the Eviscerator and try to bring it down.
Yeah.
So another chain weapon. Ha-ta-ta-ta-ta. Ha-cha-cha-cha. Hiya. Yeah, not as good as last time. 7 plus 4.
11.
Yep.
As you bring down this, it's a very large weapon.
Yeah.
He sleekly sidesteps it. You would have never hit him. He's so fast. The troops, in the meantime, there's 7 left. Actually, 1 more died in the previous round from shots as he approached. So that gives me 6 troops. And let's see. One of them is actually successful in getting one of the Eldar down. Basically, he rushes his weapon, and two of his battle brothers just stab the Eldar, overwhelming him by sheer numbers.
Just for my own portion of it, I think I'd like to use my luck control power to make one of the guards re-roll to see if they can, get another shot off.
Yeah, sure. And with your luck, another one of your troops manages to kill one. It's on the other side where somehow it looks like he stumbles over something lying on the floor, but because of that, he actually runs his sword through an Eldar who didn't expect him to stab at that moment. Your luck coming in handy there. Which brings us back to the Eldar, of which 3 are now dead. 2 are standing right next to you. They've drawn their swords, and they both look at the biggest threat, which is the man with a huge sword, chainsword, and they try to take you down. Does a 16 hit? The highest of the 2?
Just barely, yeah.
Okay. The 16 is an effect 6, which you have to resist.
Ow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
a lower bonus.
Ooh. 8.
An 8. A roll of 8 versus effect 6. It makes you staggered and gives you the -3 penalty. 1 lower, and you would have gone down.
I'll immediately, because it's top of the round in my action, right? Immediately.
Yeah, so you basically get run through by his sword.
Okay, good. I'm going to grab that person and try to basically shove the eviscerator down their throat.
All right. You can do either of 2 things. You can either just roll an attack roll with your eviscerator or make an actual grab attempt.
Let's go with the actual attack with the eviscerator.
Okay.
Yup. Okay, so that's 18 to hit?
An 18 just hits.
Whew, thank God. Then that's effect of... What did we say it was? I think...
8.
8. So that was a +4, so now it's effect 4? Because the attack bonus is 4, so...
Yeah, the maximum you can get is 12 combined. So the effect of your weapon
it is 8.
He'll try to resist it.
I will use my 3rd point of luck to make him reroll that.
All right. And take the lower of the 2, which is the 18.
Well, shit.
Sometimes you're lucky.
You can't say I didn't try.
You're not. No, the lower of the 2 against your effect 8. Actually, with a roll of 18, his bonus of 5 just makes it. Giving him 23, which is like literally on the point. The same point you needed to survive.
I'm basically staring daggers at him at this point. Like, absolutely unfazed, but still like... Yeah. Eviscerator in hand, ready to make the next strike.
You're actually looking at his helmet, which is a visored conal-shaped helmet, same dark blue. And that brings us to the rest of the scene. The one we didn't kill any Elder this round, right?
I don't believe so. Oh, wait a minute. No, I didn't even.
These 2, no.
No, and not only that, but I didn't even hit because I got the -3. I'm so sorry.
The one that's holding the sword in your belly, he tries to tear it up. He'll have to make an attack roll just to make sure it actually happens. That's 19.
Yep, that hits.
All right, the 19 hits. Then you get to resist again against the effect 5, but this time with the -3 penalty you took earlier.
Okay. 10 plus 5, 15.
A 15 against 5. That will give you a -1 penalty. So you go to -4. It hurts, but you managed to just keep it down enough to not gut you completely. And the other Elder actually, he's swinging his sword, trying to drive your troops back. And let's see if he actually hits one of them. He actually does hit and kill one of your men, bringing your men down to 6. 5 actually, sorry. So the 5. 2 of them managed to grab a hit. They were all the one trying to drive them back. They were jumping him, and that one goes down. So
Okay.
it's you, a sword in your belly, and 5 of your troops.
I am immediately going to. I'm going to try and wrench off the helmet from this individual,
Mhm.
and I just want to see if I can get the helmet off first.
Okay.
So before I do anything else.
All right. So that will be a fighting or close combat if you have either of those skills.
Brawling?
Yeah, brawling.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go with that. Yep. That's a 19.
A 19 hits. So we can roll. How would this normally work? Trying to grab an item.
Athletics?
He can roll an opposed fighting actually. So he'll roll an
Okay.
opposed close combat. But you win. So you managed.
Hang on, not 19 because of the -4 penalty. So 15.
No, that's just to your toughness.
Oh, it's
minus-
just to my toughness.
Yeah, the minus.
Okay.
So you are. So the next hit could kill you. That's what the result is.
No
yeah.
pressure.
No pressure, and you're still staggered, so you're not really fast.
Okay, so I'm going to tear the helmet off.
Tell me, and it's an alien creature. Let me see if I can grab a quick picture of one. Because I did all my homework, right? No, it's an alien creature, almost elf-like in terms of fantasy. He's taller than you, with a long face, sleek face. This one has silver hair.
Okay.
And to you, emotionless face.
Is there enough hair for me to grab
Yes,
on the head of this Xenos? Because if so, I'd like to spend an extra effort to try and headbutt it into submission.
All right. So is that close attack, or are you gonna grapple with it?
That's close combat attack. Still,
Both of them is yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Still with brawling, so a +5. Hiya. 15.
15. He actually manages to you just swipe air. He dodges his head aside as the 5 troops try to stab him while he's busy with you. And one of them, one who had like a chopping sword, just takes his head clean off with a natural 20. And that's why you swiped air with your headbutt.
Simultaneously, like try to duck down, and it's like it's already gone.
Behind the elder, there's a side walkway where the bulkhead is slammed shut.
Okay.
That's to the outside of the ship. And there's a red light. There's a red light above it turning.
Okay, so are the boarding vessels still attached?
You don't see the boarding vessel. There's a bulkhead door in your way, which normally automatically close on decompression.
Okay.
So it's likely that the room behind it is decompressed.
Okay. So
Just open it. Open it. No, don't.
That would be fun. Don't get me wrong. Really interested in that possibility, but instead, I'm going to try and work, like, even with the sword in my gullet, I'm going to demand the troops. He's scatterbrained, so he's sort of just shouting these half orders. Outside, boarding vessels, cut us, weld us, anything to remove it, now! And he's just going to not take out the sword because that would make the bleeding worse. And he's going to try and finagle his way into like a different area of the ship so that the troops can deal with the boarding vessels, like their removal from it, and he can hunt down any more Eldar that might have snuck past him. So he's just going to like be on a last sort of hobbling witch hunt for these Eldar that may or may not be there.
Okay. You notice that you move very slowly.
Oh yeah,
You're
no, he's
bleeding badly.
Yeah.
Okay, while this skirmish was going on, I would like to know what the rest was doing.
Albucasis is following the Inquisitor's orders, creating a viral or bacterial, some type of biological weapon that they will coat the artifacts with, and is continuing to make the environment within the lab as inhospitable to Eldari as possible. And once that's completed, if possible, I'd like to make it actually airborne. This biological weapon that is specific to Eldari, and release it within the lab.
Yeah, so do you have either the Artificer or the... what's the other one?
I have all kinds of things.
Yeah,
Let's see.
Inventor, that's the word. Advantage.
Let me take a look here. My sheet. Yes, I do have Inventor.
Okay.
And I also have Skill Mastery.
Okay. So with Skill Mastery, you can take 10 on the roll, if you would so choose to. But to create a toxin like this in a time frame like this, the difficulty class will be a lot higher than you would be used to. And I will roll your Inventor roll in secret, as to not know the result.
All right.
That's the trade-off we would make.
May I spend a hero point for it to succeed?
No.
All right.
Because that's the downside of Inventor. You never know if it's going to work until you actually try it.
All right. Can I spend a hero point to make sure it's not going to kill the rest of the humans on
that
board?
I will allow.
Then I will do that.
Yeah. Okay. Normally, with inventions, you can use them only in one scene, and then if you want to use them again, you would spend a hero point to use them another scene, unless you spend the points on it and just buy it. So I will roll. What's your technology modifier?
13.
13.
And I have a.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, I've rolled. And you create in the time in as short a time as you can. You manage to create like a microfile of what you hope is enough to kill by airborne, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I want it airborne, aerosolized within the lab, and possibly through the ducting. But again, as a biological weapon, it would be one that would, like a cold. It's a cold virus.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What else? We have Matilda, who retreated into the captain's quarters.
Matilda, in the quiet of this room with the remaining cards from her spread, is going to try again to concentrate and try and get a premonition But if she hears like gunfire nearby, she would stop midway through and concentrate and move into the warp instead, intending to go more into combat mode. So, does she hear gunfire nearby?
You hear
I guess the best
You hear resonations from through the hallways. It's faint, far, like dinging on metal.
Then I think she's gonna push for the premonition instead.
Okay.
Not close enough. Just, but I'll take it.
You did the visions, right? What's the correct name of it? I have to think on it. What you see, and I'll quiet down.
She's dreading seeing that white room again because she still hasn't figured out what the hell that white room is.
Well, just so you know, you enter into a white plane, which is like almost like the background of any vision you have. Like literally the background. So you don't have to describe a background. Well, no, not the reason, but it is the result of it. You see the ghost of what would have been the Farseer. It does not move. It does not talk. But in the background, you see other Eldar fighting. You don't see them fighting orcs this time, though. You see them fighting what looks to be Space Marines, but different. And if you look the other way, there's humans fighting, but these humans they're fighting other humans, like Imperial Guard against Imperial Guard. And this is a big battlefield, actually a really large battlefield, so large that you cannot really distinguish any specific regiments. There's tanks as well, big weaponry being used, planes flying over it, and that's when you snap back out.
I think she's gonna push out the room, her weapons at her side, and she's gonna go and try and help the people with the Eldari that are pushing on board. She doesn't want to go back into Psychic Land. There's nothing good in Psychic Land anymore. And she's gonna go and try and fight things because she's very scared of what she just saw, and I have a feeling I know what she just saw. So, yeah, she's gonna go help protect the artifacts, protect the ship, protect the people on the ship.
Okay. On the bridge, Kivkin, you get reports of attacks on deck 5 and shortly after deck 6. But it's like Eldar sighted and then it's gone. And yeah, what do you do while this is going on?
Hitting comms. Secutor, secure engineering. So all those Cult Mechanicus military outfit, we're going to send in engineering to secure it. I want to be able to still make that damn jump. Gunnery, get me a firing solution for covering fire. We need to buy ourselves time. Helmsman, get us the hell out of here. As for all crew, secure everything that you can. I want no one dying today.
Vasily just starts laughing as he hears that. Just sword still in his gullet, just kind of like, okay, making my way to the med bay. Just staggering.
And I'd like to make a devil's part.
Sorry, eh?
I have 2 complications of note. Fondness for the forbidden and touch of the psychic. I want to let you make something absolutely terrible happen, but it allows us to make that warp jump.
Ah. I think I will take a bargain. Did you have any hero points remaining?
I have one.
Then I'll take it as well.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, for the bargain, I will have something terrible happen, and you will get your warp jump in about 1 minute instead of 5.
Oh.
That's nice. I like bargains like that. Now I have to think of what will happen. Oh, I know what will happen. Because on engineering, there's a fight starting. Before the Secutors actually arrive, you hear cutters setting on your door, Janitor Albucases, like plasma cutters. Similar.
Yes. The janitor is hanging from the ceiling in a completely darkened room that has been filled with a mist version of the lethal communicable Eldari flu that they have created, and has their bolter aimed at the door.
Okay. As the door gets cut, there's almost a oval shape of door being kicked out, and you in the smoke you see something moving.
With my enhanced vision, can I determine what it is? Because I do have enhanced vision.
Yes. Well, there is someone moving behind it. You can roll me a perception to see.
All right. Well, it'd been really nice if that one had worked. Or that one. Come on, in the box. Into this. There we go. That's a 22.
A 22. You see several shapes readying their weapons, about to move in. Eldar, most likely. It's still mostly obscured, but you can get a beat on them.
Okay. I would recognize just by general shape.
Yeah. There's multiple doors to this
Human.
room, by the way.
Right.
I would imagine this being one of the ship-wide engineering rooms with examining equipment. So you would have 2 corridors, both to the front of the ship and the back of the ship. On
Right.
They're coming from the front, and the ones in the back lead to the engine rooms.
Knowing that there are ships, fighters on way that were supposed to be protecting, they were supposed to stay outside. They heard that order. So he's good. They're going to fire.
Okay.
They're going to fire on this group.
Give me a shot.
All right. Okay. Let's try this again, dice. That would be a natural 20.
That's really
And with a
nice.
bolter, it crits on a 19 and 20. So
Yeah. With the 20, you managed to mow down tree on one side of the door. Like you're just strafing the gun, and you hear the soft impact on fleshy beings underneath the armor. And
they're cackling.
And as you get those hits, as soon as there's like a tiny opening in your firing, I'm assuming you're just continuously firing. There is also a something like a movement of air, a flash of something moving into the room. And you can roll me a perception. Again.
Right. Oh, the artifacts are not out in plain sight. They are hidden in a.
Did you
they
take
are
them
hidden.
out of the stasis field?
No.
Okay,
he
then they're
stasis
they're in
field.
the stasis container. That's the only option because that's like a field generator.
Oh, all right.
And you supercharged it, if I'm
Yeah.
correct.
Yep.
So
yep.
it's
Okay.
completely obscuring what's inside the stasis field, but
Right,
there is
right.
a big stasis field in between metal arms that generate with generators at the end of it.
All right. 21 for perception.
21. And did you have anything special for sight as well, except for the thermal vision? I think.
I've
You had
got
anything
secondary
against
optical
surprise?
implants. And against surprise, yes. Let's see. For vision, it's secondary optical implants senses 2 for dark vision and energy signatures.
Mm-hmm.
I have a quickness 1 for fast hands. Let's see, what else do I have here? Defensive roll. Assessment, able to quickly size up an opponent's combat capabilities.
Okay. Yeah, so
Choose a target.
you don't have uncanny dodge, right?
Oh, I do have uncanny dodge as well,
Okay.
and
Be-
improved defense.
Yeah, because most importantly, the uncanny dodge gives you you're not vulnerable when surprised or otherwise caught off guard.
Right.
So you are not surprised. You are mechanically not surprised that someone tries to stab you with 2 swords from behind you.
Okay.
He'll only make 1 attack. Does a 12 hit you?
Let's see, that's 10 plus my dodge, correct?
Yes.
It's my armor. And I have protection 4 for armor.
Yeah, that's the next protection 4 will allow you to absorb the hit.
Okay.
If it hits.
So 12. So
So he
12
does actually
is
hit you.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is just barely hit. Yeah.
Yeah. One attacker hit wins, so to say. You get to resist against a effect 2 attack, and after that you can roll me a willpower as well. Okay, against the damage you easily make it. The willpower is a 24 as well. As you get stabbed from behind, you feel a chill going through one of your spines. And as you become aware of the new threat that stepped into the room, it's almost as if it's in 4 or 5 places at the same time. It's an Eldar with really elaborate armor. There's spikes coming off the shoulder pads, and it's holding 2 almost bone-white swords, but it's constantly shifting where it is. And I will give you 2 rounds before your reinforcements arrive. Yes, Jason.
Good, quick question. The people that I sent there, are they still alive, or have they been dealt with?
You don't know.
Great. Good to know.
The hallway they came from, there should have been people there. So if they were there, they might be dead or otherwise taken out.
Great. Fun. I've still got a sword in my stomach, so good luck, Albucases.
You'll be there in around.
I hope you don't die before I
or
heal
15,
you.
I think.
All right.
So the Macandrite is going. One of the Macandrites is going to lash out at them. So it'll be a ranged attack +1.
Okay.
For a damage 4 if it hits. I don't think that's going to hit.
No.
12.
As the McAndroid, it goes out at where you thought it was, but it's not in that position.
Okay. Can I make, as the McAndroid slashing out, can I reach out with the Neural Gauntlet for another part of it?
For an extra effort, you could. Which will mean you become fatigued. First fatigued, then exhausted. Because Jason, I think you're both staggered and fatigued, making you 1/4 of your normal movement.
Let's.
I'll be there sometime in the next century, I think, is how we'll phrase that.
Wonderful.
You wanted to lash out with the Neural Gauntlet?
Well, I'm trying. I think I want to take a defend action because I have defensive roll plus improved defense.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with the improved defense. So that'll give me a +2 circumstance bonus to active defenses for this one round.
You can. With defensive roll, you get a bonus to your toughness rolls equal to your active defense, up to this normal maximum cap. So that will just give you a higher. But with the improved defense, you get a bonus on your defensive defense action. You get a +2 bonus to it. So you can roll me a d20 with your dodge bonus.
Okay.
And then your active defense becomes your normal, what you rolled, plus your active defense +2. And if you roll under 10, you get +10 to the roll. As if you were spending a luck or a hero point.
Okay, so I just rolled a 4.
Yeah, so that becomes a 14 because it's below 10. And then you get another 2 bonus. So that's
16 is
18, I think.
18
total.
Okay.
Yeah. So your active defense is now 18.
All right.
Without affecting your toughness modifier. That's the bonus of doing this. So you can get a higher active defense even if it clashes with the power cap.
Gotcha.
So you're using the extra effort to start defending yourself.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then the Eldar are next up, and there's 3 more figures stepping through the door. Their guns out, and one of them aims it at you. The other 2, they look to be heading over to the overcharged stasis field, which is glowing bright with electricity energy on the outside. They're moving towards the consoles, and the big Eldar that's probably now pretty much in front of you if you turned. He tries to cut you down with a cross stroke, but because of your active defenses, the 12 he rolls does not hit. Because otherwise you would have been at 12. You can describe how you sidestep it now, though.
Albacase is, I like to picture Albacase is looking a little bit like Doc Ock in a way, now hanging from the ceiling and just twisting as McAndroid's arms are moving constantly over the ceiling to change the position of their body.
Okay, so if they could come close, they might hit a McAndroid instead of you. So to say.
And those things are nice and reinforced and strong.
Yeah, nice one. Okay, well, it's your action again. And you estimate the arrival of the forces to be soon, within 10 to 20 seconds.
I'm aiming the bolter at the two that are headed for the stasis field.
Okay. You will lose your active defense, so unless you renew it again with an extra effort, or
All right.
you will go
Yeah.
back to 12.
It wants to defend the need to defend the artifact as much as possible. So that's a 30-20 to hit.
Okay. A dirty 20 will hit. You cut down one of the two that go towards it. Or shoot down one of them.
Still cackling. They're going to grin at the. Well, they're grinning behind their mask, but there's definitely this kind of very evil or eerie mechanical cackling going on behind the mask.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
that's where they're at.
So then the others, the one that is alive and runs towards the console, and he just starts pulling. Well, there's one big red button. He pushes it, and by some miracle, the stasis field goes down.
And that's when a servo skull comes
hang
out
on.
and headbutts it.
Wait. That's also the time when the other door, the doors at the back at engineering open, and secutors start rushing in as ordered. And the Elder will take another swing at you with a "What have you done?" In your language. A 12, he will hit you. So you can resist me against effect 4 again. And another willpower.
So that toughness roll, correct?
Yeah, toughness. And you get your... it's already calculated, so that's a 9. You easily make it, and you have to roll me another willpower. That's a 20. That's exactly enough to get no effect from that. As the ship goes into an alarm, well, it was already in an alarm, and goes into the warp. And I think that's a perfect place to wrap up this session. All right.
Wow.
So the ship enters the warp as expected, and we'll see what happens in the warp next time. So let's go around our cast and crew, see what you liked today, and where can we find you online. And I think we can all, just like normal, we start with a cleric of court, Janitor Albucasis.
Hi, I'm Kat. I'm at Cleric of Cord, and I'm having a great time picturing this not very human anymore individual hanging from the ceiling of their lab, cackling in rather eerie tones as they fight off the Eldari and try to protect these artifacts. I'm loving this. Vasily, don't die. Stefania would be very upset if Vasily were to die. But you can find me all over playing games on the internet. I have a pinned tweet. I will be back here on Encounter Roleplay on Thursday for some Deck of Many Worlds, our viewer game. Go check out the Discord. Maybe sign up and come play with us. Then on Friday is the Greyhawk Basilica of Cudgel game. Our wizard summoned Asmodeus last time for a little talk, which irritated our cleric quite a bit. Yeah, so interesting things are happening. That's come watch.
All right. Next up, Pope.
Hey, everybody. Pope World Build on the Twitter, World Build on the Twitch. I lurk in all your streams. Wow. Just wow today. We had some epic combat. Vasily, please don't die.
It's 1 point away.
Yeah, Vasily, please don't die. Today was a doozy. I'm looking forward to next week, especially when you make devil's bargains and give the ST an entire week to figure that out. As for me, if you want to see someone 10,000% more chill, Tales from the Grim, 9 p.m. tonight. It is the season finale of Bad Moon Rising, and you can get to see me and a bunch of other cool cats going to one hell of a party. Otherwise, for those of you viewing on YouTube, thank you. And if you can, please join us live here Mondays, 2 p.m. Eastern for more Inquisitor. Let's see what trouble we get into next time.
All right, Jason.
Yeah, I don't know what everybody's so concerned about. I think it went fantastically well. I can't think of anything that's disconcerting or worrying or terrible or, potentially life-threatening, especially not towards Vesely. I don't know why y'all are so concerned. I was one away from death. Oh boy, that's just a bundle of fun in the grim darkness of the far future. Hopefully I'll find a med kit. Hopefully I'll be back to killing cultists, and hopefully we'll be sure to lock down that artifact and then launch it into the nearest sun, where it obviously belongs, apparently. Who knows? Anyway, at JustJason, please, on Twitter. If you want to find me, follow me there. Got a pinned tweet. Gonna be having a lovely time over at the We Are Nerdsmith Twitch channel, running Final Rites, an all-female, all-tiefling, Southern Gothic D&D extravaganza. Just a marvelous little time where they're actually going to be dealing with dragons. So that's 50% of the... of what it says on the tin down. So we'll just have to find a dungeon for him next. We'll figure it out from there. But for now, everybody drink water, stay cool, take care of yourselves, and have fun.
Matilda, Charlie.
That was a lot of fun. It's always super great when I roll well, and then it comes to a psycho roll and I roll badly. Doom and gloom on the horizon, if the prophecy Matilda is to be believed. Can she keep people alive? Probably not. Is it important? Maybe. It's going to be an interesting progression towards the end of the season. Towards the end of season 2 of Inquisitor. You can go and check out and catch up with all the VODs over on the Encounter Roleplay YouTube. They're all up there. They get uploaded every week. I believe Inquisitors get uploaded on Mondays, so Monday morning, Eastern Standard Time, you can go and find those. How was that for you, Bastian?
I enjoyed today. Today was a bit of a bridging episode, and I did have some things planned if you were to take some actions, like trying to flee the system, which sprung into action, actually. So we'll see where you end up next time with an artifact that is not in a stasis field inside of the warp with your hull breached. Let's see what happens, I guess. Maybe it has something to do with the horrible thing, the devil's bargain. Maybe it doesn't. We'll see. I really enjoyed today. Nice roleplay, some new information, some way of going where you want to go. So looking forward to next week.
And of course, coming up after us in an hour's time here on Encounter Roleplay, we have Land by Play Ravnica with DM Corey. So stay tuned for that. And after that, at 9 p.m. Eastern, we have Kobold Press's, is it called Tomb of Ghouls? It's something like that. It sounds really cool. It's going to be very exciting. It's a late game, but if you're awake, go and check that out. It's a lot of fun. It's a one-shot. Big props and love to Kobold Press. As for us, go and check out everyone on the Twitters. We all have pinned tweets for all the games we're in. Encounter Roleplay will be here all week, bringing you lots and lots of games from all different systems. I will be back on Wednesday playing Cult in the 2 p.m. Eastern time slot. very excited. We're in kind of hell, kind of purgatory. I'm not entirely sure, but it's dark and it's only going to get darker. But in the meantime, try not to roll too many nat ones because we want to be there laughing when you do. We'll see you soon.
And I will have to find the button.
Keep waiting.